I was never ready for the transition to go from Seattle to Denver. I never really ever thought that would ever happen, to be honest with you. But the reality is I got adversity tolerance. That's why I don't slow down. Actually, I speed up.
All right, Bay Mang, welcome to episode 4, week 4 of Rebuilded with Tim Grover and Eddie, presented by Gametime. Programming note off the top, you're watching this right now, probably on YouTube or on the website, wherever you're watching this at. We had a technical difficulty situation. Something happened with our video footage, so the video of this podcast, unfortunately, will not be here today. We have a great episode for you, though. It's with Russell Wilson. We still do have video of Russell, so you could watch this shortly after I'm done with this announcement. And then after the Russell interview, we do have a Q&A. We did a little email segment that is there as well. But just the beginning of the podcast when I talk with Tim is not there, or the video of us talking to Russell. However, it is all available on audio formats. Any podcasting app that you go to, Apple iTunes, whether it be Spotify, Stitcher, you name it, go to the link down below in the description. Hit that. You can listen to the full episode there. And that's the best way to go about the episode today. We're sorry. Stuff happens with tech. It's shitty. But, stuff happens. What are you going to do? So there will be video footage of some sort. You'll see it shortly with Russell Wilson. But if you want the full episode, like I said, go to the link in the description and go listen to it in a podcast format. Before we continue on, before we kick it to Russell Wilson for the video format is concerned, we do want to talk about the Gametime app, though. And the Gametime app is obviously the best place to go if you're looking for last-second tickets. I went on last Sunday. I was in New York. So there was the Rangers were playing the Penguins in Game 7. I was staying in a hotel literally right across from MSG. I looked at the Gametime app, saw prices that were reasonable, so I made a quick decision. I went, and it couldn't have been easier or more seamless, so go make sure you're using the Gametime app. It's created by fans for fans. Gametime is a new ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows, and they guarantee the lowest price. Like I said, they cracked the code on how to score last-minute deals. So make sure you're doing that. The purchase process takes 2 taps in 10 seconds, and once you buy your tickets, they're delivered directly to your phone. No printer needed. The app also allows you to share tickets with friends via text so you can get into the game seamlessly. Skip the hassle and enjoy the moment. Download the Gametime app, go to the account tab to create a login, redeem code REBUILD for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Download Gametime, last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, let's kick it over to Russell Wilson. Like I said, full episode. Go listen to the podcast. Link is in the description. And next week, for our YouTube viewers, if you'd like to watch it, we'll be back in full next week. Sorry about that. We'll catch you guys next week. All right, so now we are joined by Denver Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson. Russell, thank you for doing this. And is it weird to hear Denver still? Are you used to it yet? What's going on with that?
No, it's not weird. I think it's obviously been a change. But I think anytime there's change, there's growth. And I'm excited about the opportunity of it. Obviously, Denver's been a lot to me, because, back in my professional baseball career when I was trying to hit fastballs and curveballs, the Denver, the Colorado Rockies drafted me, and I remember coming out to Denver and being in this area and walking the stadium, obviously, big old Mile High, and just being in there. It was a special time for me. I was young, and I always dreamed that I could, play in the National Football League for a long time. And so I'm embracing the change. That's for sure.
So, okay. So you and Tim work together, obviously. That this is how it goes. And how did you guys meet? How did this come to be?
Well, kind of a crazy story. We had just, I just went to the Super Bowl, watched the Super Bowl, I guess 2 years ago. And I'm sitting there and feeling like, what? I need to be playing this game. And as I was sitting there, I was in bed 3:30 in the morning. Couldn't sleep at all. I couldn't sleep for 2.5 weeks. I started watching Michael Jordan videos. And I was watching his videos. I was watching Kobe Bryant videos, and just studying their game and watching them in the middle of the bed. And Sierra was probably pissed off at me because I ain't getting no sleep, nothing, not 1 ounce of sleep or anything like that. I'm watching these videos. And anyways, I saw Tim pop on the screen, and he was talking about the dedication and the process of it all and winning, what that meant. And, I think sometimes when you, just like any great artist, Sierra, for example, she loves to study Michael Jackson, She loves to study Janet Jackson, to watch their moves and watch how they did things. I think that when you're watching great athletes like Michael Jordan growing up and Kobe Bryant and what they were able to do and the finesse, but also the determination, the mindset, I've always studied their games and always admired them. And so at some point you have to figure out, okay, where do they learn from? Where do they grow from? Where are they pushed? And so that's where I saw Tim. And I said, I want to call this guy. And obviously I knew it was book Relentless. I knew it was one of the world's best books and everything else. But I also, I wanted somebody to give me that little extra edge. And so I had a whole performance team. I've always invested in myself. I learned that a long time ago. I had this guy, Leon Washington, tell me, hey, how many massages do you get a week? I said, 1. He goes, it's my rookie year. I just got named starter. And he goes, I'm going to need you to get 3 a week. I said, 3 a week? I'm not making that much money. He goes, yeah. But let me tell you something. How much do those massages cost? I said, well, about $100 per pop. He goes, okay, well, 3 massages a week. How much is that? I said, $300. He said, okay, 10 weeks. Time that by 10 weeks. How much is that going to be? He said, $3,000. I said, $3,000. He said, okay, we're going to play 20 weeks. How much is that? I said, about $6,000. He said, okay, I'm going to need you to invest in yourself. I said, well, why so much? He goes, well, that's $6,000 for me, Leon Washington. That's going to turn into $6 million. That's $6,000 for you is going to turn to $60 million. And that's when I really became dedicated to it. And that's when I called Tim. I hit him up. And next thing you know, I think I direct messaged him actually.
He did. He hit me on. He hit me on. Go ahead.
I got up in Tim's DMs. And next thing you know, he hit me right back. And he wanted to see how my mindset was. He flew up to San Diego. He watched me train. He observed. The thing about Tim is this: he'll keep an eye on you like this and won't say a damn thing. And just look at you the whole time. And, what's he looking at? And he's just taking on all his observations and we got to work right away.
And you know what, Russ? One thing that you're known for is you talked about how much you invest in your physical being, your mental being, your spirit, your spiritual, everything. Everybody throws out these numbers. I've actually know that you invest 7 figures in keeping yourself at the top, at the best in every single aspect. Always looking for something. Always looking for challenges. Always looking for something new. Never satisfied. The details that you pay attention to are unbelievable. I give a great example. Is just like for people be watching this. They won't see this. Like before he got on here. He was like, I don't like the picture in the background. I don't like the light. Those little details matter to an individual as highly motivated, as highly successful, because everything matters. Every little detail. You just can't pay attention to those details in one thing and not pay attention to them in something else.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge part for me. My dad used to always tell me, son, everything matters. Everything matters. And I think for me that obsession with the fine details, the fundamentals of the game, I pride myself on making magic, that's just my gift from God. But the thing about magic is you don't want to use it all the time, because otherwise it's not magic anymore. It's one of those things that to me, I want to be able to always work on the fundamentals of the game, fundamentals of my mindset. Hey, my fundamentals of my core, what I believe in, my spirit. My spiritual life. So, Tim and I were talking the other day. We were in the house in Denver and we were talking. He said, where are we going? And I broke down to him, 2 wars. And I said to him, and one of those wars, I said to him, number one is just, over the next 10 years, it's always going to be the war of health, nutrition, and mindset, right? That part of it's going to be always key and accelerating, and I said the second one, though, is probably the most significant one for me. And that's just the spiritual war. You always want to be making sure that all the outside noise, because with change, everybody wants to talk about you. Everybody wants to say he's going to be this, he's going to be that, he's not going to do this, he's not going to do that, or they're not, or they will, or this or that. And the biggest thing is that you have to be able to cancel out all of that noise and be just in that moment, just that free throw, just that moment, just that shot, just that throw, just that play. And if you can do that over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and not let up on that, then you give your chance the best chance of being successful. And what I found is that for me personally, making sure that, I'm getting 20 minutes with God every day. I'm getting 20 minutes with just myself every day, just to be able to say, we're calling it, to be able to call it 3 times, just to be able to focus on just being balanced and being right where I'm at and just being thankful for the opportunity. And I think that's a key part of it for me is starting your day every day with that. And so it's been an amazing journey so far being in Denver, and the guys, man, are so locked in, so pumped up and ready to roll. And guys are out in the field early in the morning. I had 2 guys, Melvin Gore was out in the field with me at, 6 o'clock in the morning, walking through plays. And then one of our new tight ends was with me for about an hour yesterday, just, early in the morning, just walking through plays and walking through, what we want to do. He just got there, so just to be able to spend that quality time and that obsession with that and doing the fundamental things right, I think was what adds up. And it's why I've been fortunate to be successful so far.
And there's this rebuild. The show is called Rebuild. We're sitting here. We're rebuilding it. We're rebuilding Eddie over here. Everything you're talking about goes back to that rebuild. That what he just mentioned. That was the first time we had actually discussed that about 3-time. That he wanted. It's the first time that we've actually discussed that. He opened up on it. And then what happens? That's part of the rebuild. That's part of the rebuild process. That's part of it. That's part of his greatness. That's what he needs to do to quiet his mind. That's what he needs to connect spiritually. So there's a constant rebuild that's always shifting and always changing to reach that next level, to get that next win. The details, the people you work out with, the nutrition part, the spiritual, the mental, it all has to connect together. All that stuff has to come into play first, and the workout is actually secondary, because if none of that stuff is working, if we're not dialed in, if we're not focused in on those things, then the workout stuff it's never going to be successful. Anybody can go out and just work out.
Yeah. No, I think that's been a big thing for me. That's been my difference maker. Is the ability to know that my mindset. If the game's on the line, and everybody, and it's the fourth quarter and everything else, I don't want to just know. I want them to know. And that's the fear you want to strike into people.
That's
Every
right.
time I step on the field with the game on the line, oh shoot, man, here we go. And I think that mentality, it didn't just happen. You build it up in practice. You build it up throughout your daily life, your lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. There's no other way about it. God's been good to me every day. I thank him for it. And then also too, what I know is every day I work for it, and everything that I've been fortunate to be able to receive it's been earned, and just, I've been grateful for that.
I've heard you say before that one of your biggest fears is not being prepared. Is there a situation that you reflect back on where you weren't prepared that really keeps you motivated? Is there a time where you're like, man, that was a day when I didn't have it and it was on me?
Well, hold on. Before you speak, Russell is way beyond motivation. He's one of the individuals that you do not need to motivate at all for anything. All right. He reminds me a lot of Kobe in that way, where you got to actually slow him down. Russell's all about elevation. Motivation is entry level. He's just not getting into league. He's beyond motivated. And what he said is, this is a lifestyle. And what I always try to tell people, everybody talked about Mamba mentality. And I always tell people, Mamba mentality isn't a mentality. It's a lifestyle. Yeah. Winning is a lifestyle. Relentless is a lifestyle. Going after what you want, being the best, it's a lifestyle. Rebuilding is a lifestyle. It's way beyond motivation. I have an expression that says, people saying that showing up is half the battle. No, showing up is none of the battle. If showing up is half the battle, you're so far away from winning, success, and a rebuild that you're not even ready for it. No.
Oh, that's good. No, I think that's a great point. I think, going to your question, I think for me, I always say separation's in the preparation. And so has there been a time that I've never been prepared? Not in my sports life. I've always given everything I could, to be prepared, mentally and to study and to be prepared for that. I think that anytime you have heavy loss, you're never really prepared for that. I lost my dad. I got drafted June 8, 2010, the next day. In baseball, June 8, 2010, the next day, June 9th, 2010, my dad passed away. And he was sick along the way. But you're never prepared necessarily for death. You're never prepared for that necessarily. You can say, I know this could be coming soon or this or that, but until somebody's gone, you're never prepared for it. But I think that there's ways to be able to move through it. And I think that for me, one of the key things that I always said is the sun still comes up in the morning. And I think that when you go and you have, you have death, you have loss of a Super Bowl, for example, or you have divorce, or you have things that happen in your life. You're not necessarily prepared for that exact moment, but what you are getting prepared for is the ability to have adversity tolerance. And I think that this is something that my brother and I always talk about with Limitless Minds. We have a mindset company, and we work with some of the best companies, biggest companies in the world. And my brother Harry, he's a CEO, and he always talks about this. And Tim and I always talk about this too. And one of the things that we always talk about is this idea around adversity tolerance. I want to be around people that have adversity tolerance. When things get hard, when things get tough, are they able to sustain? Are they able to keep going? Are they able to move forward and move past and to build and to rebuild? And I think that for me right now, I got a whole bunch of adversity tolerance.
Yes, you do.
I got a whole life of adversity tolerance. And so everything that people say, don't say, whatever they may be thinking, I'm telling you, I'm ready for it. And so I was never ready for the transition to go from Seattle to Denver. I never really ever thought that would ever happen, to be honest with you. But the reality is I got adversity tolerance. And so for me, my mindset is that whatever I face, I'm going to be going full steam ahead and attack it. With that mentality. And so that's why I don't slow down. Actually, I speed up. And so I'm excited about the opportunity.
Was that something that was gradual, or was there a moment that clicked that like, hey, I need to have this adversity tolerance?
I think it's something that's built up over time. I think, first of all, partially it's God-given. And you have to have, I think anytime that God can put you on top of a mountain, I think he prepares you to always be able to be ready to be at the bottom of the mountain and climb all the way up again too, as well. I think he gives you that ability to have that. And, I've been at the bottom of the mountain. I've been at the top of the mountain, and right now I'm climbing, and no matter what, I'll always forever keep climbing. And so I think for me, part of it has been also too, this thought process of over time, there's been things that have happened in my life that build you up for that. I think, growing up and knowing that my dad had to work 2 jobs at different times, knowing that my mom was an ER nurse and, was never really home all the time because she always had to work, and being by myself and my brother and I, and just having to not have much. And I was fortunate enough to go to a private school and everything else, but we didn't have much. So we didn't have people that looked like me too much. So, I had to learn along the way, But I was fortunate enough to be around some amazing families along the way too, and some great teachers and different things and great coaches. And so fast forward, I go to college, and as soon as the first week I get there, my dad gets extremely sick, like I told you earlier. So, you don't prepare for that. I got married young. And next thing you know, life changes, and you move on, and divorce happens, or whatever. So then fast forward, you don't prepare for that. But things as you go and you lose your dad and you lose, relationships or new things happen or whatever it may be. And you also win a Super Bowl and you're on top of the mountain, but yet you also have struggle in life and things that are thrown at you. You're also able to know that, better days are ahead, and the sun still comes up in the morning. And so that's what I've always told myself when trouble comes or tough times or anything like that is, guess what? The sun still comes up in the morning. And that's kind of my motto in the midst of storms. And so, going from Seattle, and being traded and going to a new spot, sun still comes up in the morning, So for me, I think that I've over a lifetime and seeing people, come and go. And I think also too, I also think too, going to children's hospitals and seeing that, life is fragile. It doesn't last forever and things come and go. I think you're able to also find that, there's always better days. And I think that's something that I've been wildly, focused on. And I know that winning is a journey. Winning is a journey. Winning in life, marriage. Sierra and I, for us to be, Sierra and I get to do life together. I like every day. This is the best part of my days. I get to wake up and pray every morning with Sierra, and we get to pray over our kids and do that. And I think that's probably my greatest joy in my life, is to know that I have a wife and Sierra that loves God as much as I love him. That will do anything for our kids, anything for me. That just every day wakes up with this passion to make the world a better place. I say she's the world's best dancer, world's best entertainer. She's amazing. She's got some new stuff she's been working on, some new music and everything else, and working on a music video, just different things she's been doing. And so, and then she's kicking butt in business. She's a CEO. We get to do business and life together. We own a fashion line together called the House of Del R&C, which I get to, rock Goodman brand. I'm rocking Goodman brand. I see you in a Goodman brand, Tim.
I got the shoes too.
Yeah, but showing them arms. Let's see, Tim. I got the shoes on and everything. But, we have a Goodman brand in our company, a men's clothing line. And we also have Lita, which love is the answer. We have the clothing line called Human Nation. We have an amazing CEO, Christine Day, who used to run Lululemon. So we're fortunate to be able to work with some of the best people in the world. And then I get to do some cool stuff like Limitless Minds and work with Tim and just work with some other amazing people in my world, and just people who are driven. And I think that for me, what I've learned is that if you surround yourself around amazing people, amazing things happen.
So here's the thing. He talks about the sun, he talks about the sun comes up every single day. I've been with Russell. This is my second year going with him. I have yet to see him sleep past when the sun was up. That's one of our biggest battles. That's he's walking around. I get these texts at 3:30 in the morning, and he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm sleeping." So should you. His mind is always going. He's always figuring out a way to rebuild something, to make something better. So just like that, we have our challenges that, as great as he is, there's always a next level. There's that battle. And everybody thinks that most of our stuff is actually the training part, which has a lot to do with it. But with Russell and I, it's more of understanding different situations, see what's going on in life. What is that daily day bringing? What's happening over here? What are you dealing with on the team? What's going on with this situation here? Because all that affects everything that's going on. And I'm actually I'm the seasoned individual on his team, so I have the knowledge and the experience, and I've gone through this stuff at the highest level, so I can tell him, hey, you want to know how these guys did it? This is what's going to happen. There's no fluff. There's no sprinkles. Here it is. And I come at him hard. One of the things that we talked about just my last trip down there, he's always says, I think. I said, Russell, no more. I think. Mm-hmm. So these are constant things that we're constantly working on with him. These little things, these little details make all the difference. And when he was talking about adversity tolerance, it's just not for him. If you look at his brother Harry and his sister and himself, people don't know. His sister won an NCAA championship in basketball. Yeah. So there's adversity tolerance. Yep. There's a rebuild there. Harry came up with this idea, and in the middle of building this Limitless Minds company, there was some serious adversity that came their way. All right, and they had to rebuild it in a different direction. And what happens is when something like that is thrown at you, people like say, I'll be ready for it. You're never ready for it. But when it happens, how are you going to deal with it? How are you going to deal with that situation?
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. I think responsiveness is everything. I mean, how do we deal with obstacles? How do we deal with pain? How do you deal with cancer? How do you deal with divorce? How do you deal with loss? How do you deal with struggle? How do you deal with depression? How do you deal with worry? I mean, all these different things are all the things that we all face in different ways in our lives. And I think that, Tim, I think, you talk about this kind of stuff in your book, winning. You talk about it in Relentless. And I think that, it's such a big part of winning. It's just a big part of not just winning on the field, but winning in life. And I think that you have to be able to know that don't run from the adversity.
No, you don't run from it. You run towards it because it's come. If you run from it, it's going to constantly be chasing you. It's going to be constantly chasing you. At some point, you got to stop. You got to let it catch you. You got to acknowledge it. You got to go deal with it. And you can't do a rebuild. For people that go off their nutrition plans, that go off of their workout plans, whatever it is, or their level of work starts to decline, as that's because they're constantly running from it. We have this thing. Listen, you don't run away from the storm. You run towards a storm, because if you can get through that storm, where is the safest place? Right in the center of the storm, because the next storm is coming. The next storm is coming. The next storm is coming. So you go in one end, and then you have to go right. You have to go right out the other.
Yeah. Well, I think a big part of growth for me in this season of life too. And Tim, you and I get to talk about this quite a bit, but I think a big part of growth for me in this season of life and change is the ability to find new ways to do it. I think that what's been amazing about this change is I'm a rookie all over again, but yet with 10 years of experience. And that's dangerous. That's dangerous because I have the newness of this
dangerous Russ. Dangerous Russ.
I have this newness of wanting to learn everything all over again. But I also have the depth of experience to know that, hey, I've also won a lot of games and know how to do that too. And to be able to put those two things together with a bunch of young, talented young guys and everything else with guys like Cortland Sutton and Tim Patrick, Jared Judy, KJ Hamlin, this guy's working. And then obviously the defense, guys like Justin Simmons and Chubb and these different guys, DJ. It's been fun. It's been fun just to know that it's all beginning. And, a new head coach and Coach Hackett too as well. And so I think for me, I've enjoyed the process of knowing that, I'm just beginning. It's just the beginning for me. I'm just put the little logs in, just put a little gas on it and about to light the match.
Russ, I know you got another appointment coming. I don't know how much time we have left, but the one thing I do want to talk to you about is a lot of people came at him, and when there was a possibility of a trade, all right, and everybody was just like, "Why are you going to that division?" Because of all the different individuals, the different quarterbacks in there. Talk about your mindset and your rebuild on that.
I wouldn't want it any other way. I want it to be the best of the best, the toughest of the tough. I want every game to be a showdown. That's what I want. I don't want it any other way.
Feels like this is kind of what you needed, Russ. Was this kind of a breath of fresh air? Were you kind of was it getting a little stale in Seattle?
I wouldn't even talk about anything staleness or anything. I think that in life, when this trade happened, it's like, okay, you know what? I can embrace this challenge or run from the challenge. And I'm going to embrace it.
And most people don't like change. That's the thing. They like the comfort. They like the stale routine instead of the routine for change. Because with change comes a lot of adjustments, a new rebuild, a new thought process. What he said, I've got 10 years of experience, but this is starting all over. Getting to know new teammates, getting to learn them. He learned the playbook in less than a week. It was amazing. It's just like we sat here. He was going to have a bunch of his receivers come in down to one of his homes. And it was like literally for that 4 days, all he did was study the playbook, the verbiage, everything over again. And when the guys came in, I said, "What did you guys think about this?" I said, "Is this what you expected?" Man, they were like, "Are you crazy?" All we thought was that we were gonna run some routes, throw little plays, hang out by the pool for 3 days.
We put them to a training camp, military camp.
And it got to the point where it was 3 days. The guys came up to, it was actually 4 days, but on the third day, the guys came up to me and they say, "Man, listen, our brain is fried, man. We can't process any more information right now." And I actually had to go to Russ because he's so intense and not everybody is at his level. And I said, "All right, Russ, now you need to pull back. You need to pull back a little bit." And then they've maxed out right now. Let them absorb all this stuff. Then we'll continue from there. And that's what he said. My job is to kind of pay attention to all these little details that nobody else is paying attention to, and come back to the leader and give him information that he can use and process it to make himself and the team even better.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it. And I think that man, I want to maximize everything, man. I got 10 to 12 more years left, and I want to maximize every bit of it. And I'm excited about the opportunity of it all. So, listen, guys, this has been amazing, man. I thank you. I got to hop on the show again with you guys on Rebuild, man. Tim, it's always an honor. And, I appreciate you guys, man. I'm thankful for just the opportunity just to be on here with you guys. Tim, I'm thankful for the opportunity to work with you every day.
Likewise, brother.
Every day. And to find people that are like-minded is everything. And what I challenge everybody who's listening to this show is, adjust your language. Adjust your language. I think if you want to have a great rebuild, you have to have a great language. And you got to have adversity tolerance and look forward to it. Don't run from it. One of the things we talk about with Limitless Minds all the time, and my brother Herrick, he always says, is adversity tolerance, man. Our language changes things. And so let's just make sure that we have the right language. And I think that'll adjust your situation in the midst of the storm. And as Tim said, man, I'm gonna run right through the storm. I'm gonna stand right in the middle of it.
Yes, you are.
I'm excited about it.
Hey, man, we're gonna have to get you a smaller size shirt. That thing is just too baggy on you now.
Yeah, we working, baby. We working.
All right, bro.
They're good man brand shirt, man. It's always feeling good. Always feeling comfortable. All right, guys. Well, listen, I appreciate you guys, man. Grateful, and let's ride, baby. I'll see you guys later.
Right. Thanks, Russ. All right, so that was Russell Wilson. Thanks again to him for coming on.
Yeah, Russell's just he's a real deal. I mean, he is. He's all over the place. And one thing I have to do with him is, and we're working on this, is we're teaching him how to calm that mind, mm-hmm. How to when it's time to disconnect from certain things, certain individuals. When is the right time to do that?
I was watching, so like I said, just watching interviews he's done all over the place. I was watching one with Greg Olson where he said he just signed with the Seahawks, and it was like March. So like before OTAs, and like he was like on spring break with his kids, and he said that Russ hit him up. He's like, "Hey man, let's talk about the playbook, or like, let's go over some things." And he's like, "Oh yeah, no problem." Like he went up to the hotel room and everyone was at the beach, and he said he was expecting him just to, hey, just like go over some basic routes and whatnot. He said he had a Zoom. He said he shared the playbook. He had a whiteboard behind him, and he said it was literally March. The season was months and months away, and he was just so locked in. And they went like an hour and a half, just like breaking everything down.
That's how he is. It's the details, man. It's the little details, and you look at Russell, 10 years in, all right. Super Bowl champ, I'm almost certain he'll be a Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. He's also lost a Super Bowl, which he'll admit. But he knows what the preparation he needs to consistently do to compete with the best without the best out there, and not only compete with them, be able to beat them on a regular basis. And the one thing he always says, he goes, and this was very interesting, he always says, he goes, every single game, he goes, I go out and I give everything I have, because in this sport, it may be my last game. It may be the last time somebody will ever see me play.
And so the 45 years old, he's pretty serious about that, huh?
He's serious about it. Yeah. You know, hey, listen, you know, TB12 is like set the standard for everybody, and just said, well, I shouldn't say set the standard, like basically blew it up, and just took the bar and just got rid of it. So now other athletes are like, listen, if he can do it, and he's been through some serious injuries through his career. So the greats are thinking that way. They're like, you know what, I want to play as long as I can at the highest level. I want to stop because I want to stop, not because my body tells me I can't do this anymore.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was great. That was awesome to hear his perspective and his work with you and whatnot. So YouTube videos, huh? That's everybody. They're just watching away and like, oh, I got to call this guy Tim Grover.
You know what? So it was funny. So he got it's on the story was he actually sent me a message on Instagram, and I looked at the phone, and I don't wear my glasses when I sleep. So I couldn't really see who it was. I was like, all right, Russell, well, like, okay. So what I did was I forwarded a screenshot and sent it to my business partner, Sherry. I said, see if this is legit. I can't even focus. So she looked at it. She looked at it the next morning and went through the account, and yeah, she goes, yeah, that's it. That's his account. And the one thing he said that I hit him back right away. I actually made him wait a couple of days. I made him wait a couple of days, because I know everybody's like, so we had to do our research on him.
Yeah.
You know, we had to watch his different interviews. We had to, you know, watch what's going on in his personal life, what's going on in his business life, understand the family dynamics, watch all his social media stuff. We pay attention to all that stuff before we like, okay, this could possibly be somebody that we're interested in. And the first trip we took down there, it was just like, I'm just coming to observe. I'm just coming to observe. And then after we observed, like, okay, then I consulted with Sherry, and then we're like, oh, I think this is something that we can mutually benefit each other with.
Do you have like a red flag where you like it's a no-go?
Oh yeah, there's many red flags.
What's a couple of big ones?
Many red flags. Most of the people most of them is if they do more talking than there's an actual action behind it. It's that how they're living, how they're practicing, how dedicated are they to what they're doing? Are they skipping workouts? Are they constantly late? So different things, different excuses. So it's kind of like you just observe habits and you observe individuals. You can see everything you need to see about an individual, and because everyone's going to tell you that, like, yeah, I'll do anything. Well, their definition of anything is completely different than my definition of anything. And you know, we've had with every single client I've had, we've had some disagreements, and we've had to adjust some things, and I've made some mistakes, and you know, we've corrected them. It's a constant process of, you know, figuring things out. You know, now he's in Denver, so everything is brand new. Everything is exciting. You know, he said this is a rookie. Well, part of my responsibility is to keep that excitement, to keep that same determination. It's just like when you get a new car. After a while, it's no longer a new car. You get a new pair of shoes. It's no longer a new pair of shoes. Can you keep that same that excitement? Can you keep that same determination? Can you still get up every single morning and say, yeah, you know what? I'm going to get better. It's a constant battle that starts in the head first, because it's so much easier just to say, you know what? I'll sleep in an extra half hour, or I don't feel like doing this today. Another huge red flag is when individuals tell me how to do my job. Mm. I don't want to do that exercise, so I'm not going to eat this, or I'm not going to do that. This works better for you. I mean, one of the things that we studied was Russell had been on this. And I did the research. He had been on this crazy diet. This was years ago, and I looked it up, and I was like, Russell, what happened? He showed me, I looked at it, and he goes, yeah, I ate all these calories I did. He goes, I said, well, how much weight did you lose? He goes, I lost 5 pounds. I said, 5 pounds? I was like, how long were you on the program for? And he told me and everything. I said, okay. And he goes, what do you think about that program? I said, we'll never do that program again.
And that's it.
Yeah, that's the end of the conversation. He's an expert in his things. You're an expert in your things. I'm an expert in my things. All right. I always say, let the painter paint.
Do you have like a strike policy? Like if someone doesn't show up for the Saturday, they're at the club or something, is it like one strike and you're out, or you're like, you give people like how many chances will you give where it's like, hey, we're not going to work?
Well, usually you can look at the reputation of an individual. Usually that policy, it's usually I give them one strike. I give them one strike. All right, and then I need to know why that strike wasn't. But now what happens is when they get that strike, that workout that we put them through, they don't want that strike again.
Yeah,
they do not want that strike again. Yeah.
Sounds brutal. All right, so let's finish this up here with a couple emails we got sent in. If you want to send yours in, it's rebuilded at barstoolsports.com. We'll do a couple emails, then we'll do next week's what to look forward to, what to get after, and then we'll get out of here. This one is from Tom. I started listening to the podcast because I needed myself I need to get some motivation for myself to help lose some weight. However, I just finished I got my first head coaching job for high school swimming. I've been an assistant coach for the past few years, and I finally got the shot to run the ship. I'm nervous about taking over, but excited to see what we can accomplish. I think the podcast can help me in my mission to elevate the kids in and out of the pool. A problem I've had with athletes in the past is negative attitude and low motivation. What are some words, techniques, etc. that you've used in the past to get your clients to have the right attitude and become more self-motivated?
Well, here's the thing. Everybody's not going to respond to the same message. So you can't coach your kids the same way. Just like I can't coach my athletes the same way. So they have to know that you're invested in them, not only as a coach but as a person. And it's easy if you want the kids to be all in, and now it's so much more difficult to be all in because there's so many distractions out there. They have to see that you're all in. All right, what are you going to do? What are you going to do different now that you're no longer the assistant coach? That you're the head coach. Do you believe in that? Do you believe in that philosophy? Everything that you're asking your kids to do, are you doing the same thing? If you want them to show up early, are you showing up early? Are you holding them accountable? All right. And that's a big thing. And if there is an issue, you have to address those issues right away. So how do you get in? You have to unlock, before you can unlock their swimming potential. You got to unlock their mental potential first, and that's where it starts. You look at the greatest athletes, the swimmers, and all that other stuff. You can look up videos of Michael Phelps, and he always says, his battle was always up in here, which is very public. Mm-hmm. Which is very public. So coaches get in and they're worried about the swimming technique and all this other stuff, which is extremely important. But if you can't create clarity up in the head, you're not going to be successful.
Next one is from Eric. He's got two questions, actually. One is about cardio versus weight splits, but I think maybe we'll just add that as a topic for next week.
Yeah, we'll do that. That'll be a great one for next week. We'll give you the when you should do what and how and the difference, and which one should come first, which one should come after.
Okay, but so we'll go with the second question then. What is the healthiest breakfast to get the day started every morning?
Oatmeal. Plain and simple. Not the one with the sugar, not with all the stuff with the fluff in there. I always say this is so simple. Everybody talks about steel cut and this and Irish and all that. Go to the store. This is what I would tell all my clients. Get the one with the guy with the hat. That's it.
The Quaker man, right?
That's the thing. Just go look for the guy with the hat. That's it. He's been around for years. All right, I make it real simple for you. None of the ones that come in a packet, none of the ones that I don't care. I don't want you to have to spend boiling water. I don't want you to have to put it in a pan and stir. Your carbohydrates first thing in the morning. It coats your stomach. It eliminates hunger. If you can, people like I hate the taste of oatmeal. Well, if you hate the taste of oatmeal, you hate the taste of success. All right. Now there are things that you can slowly add if you want to add a little bit. Bland is the best. It's the best. All right. If you need to add some things in there, put some cinnamon in there, put some turmeric in there. You can put a little bit of raisins or dry little bit. And don't take a handful and throw. If it's changing the color of the oatmeal, all right, it's not going to be better. It's not going to be beneficial of you. Here's the thing that people have to understand. Okay, there's times you eat for taste, and there's time you eat for fuel. Morning, you eat for fuel.
Morning, you eat for fuel. What's so what are we looking at next week? What's the for the listeners, for me, is there anything you want to?
Okay, so this is what I want. This is what I want yourself and the other individuals to do. So before you eat anything, all right, I want everybody to either drink 8, 10, 12, or 16 ounces of water before you eat anything. So right before every single one of your meals.
Okay.
A minimum of 8, a maximum of 16. So right before you eat, and you have to measure that off. You need to know. I need to know whether it's 8, 12, 4. You can just get a glass, all right, or you can get out of your bottle. You can get out of your bottle and know what it is. All right. For a lot of people, they'll start to feel bloated. That's why I say everyone says you need to do a higher water intake. Would start with a 16. If you can't handle the 16. Start with 8. What you talked about a little bit earlier with about gut health and cleaning out the system. Everybody loves to talk about probiotics and all that other stuff, which is great, but that's a level where most people shouldn't even be concerned with right now. All right, tackle this first. All right, you want to cleanse your gut. You want to cleanse the inside of your body. You want to get everything moving and flowing at a lot better pace. Water. Remember, your body is anywhere from 70 to 75% water. You can go weeks without food. You can only go days without water.
So, all right, drink some water before every meal.
Every
meal you have.
8 to 16 ounces. I know these are little hacks that actually work, folks. People like it's so simple. Yes, it is simple.
Yeah.
It really is. It is simple.
I think that's important. Some people are like, "Oh, I wanted something more," but we're starting the little things.
You
right?
can't. What did our interviewers talk? It starts with the fundamentals. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to do all the fancy stuff. They want to talk about grass. They want to talk about grass fed and hormone free and all this other stuff. Well, that's at a different level right now. You're so far beyond that. Not you. I'm saying individuals are so far beyond that. All right. And listen, let's be honest. I've gone to stores and I've sat and I've waited in line behind some people that are ordering grass fed and all this other stuff. I was like, you should just be eating the grass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all right then. That brings us to an end here. A lot of stuff learned that episode. And my biggest thing is don't say handful to you. You hate handfuls.
Yeah, handfuls is like that's a handful. Handful doesn't work. Before we go on, I want everybody to listen. If you're not following Eddie, follow Eddie. What's your social?
Eddie Barstool.
Eddie Barstool. Mm-hmm. And that's just how crazy. I actually thought that was his last name. Right? No. I'm like, all right, this works out pretty good. All right, and I'm the easiest person to find. I'm like people always say, oh, man, I've been looking all over for you. No, you haven't. I'm at Tim Grover.
Mm-hmm. And go by Relentless in Winning. Russell talked about it in the interview. So, okay, that's it for this week, everybody. We'll see you guys next week.